Thank you for all your help also over the last. I remember you had sent this case loss and the important lines from the case loss. I used that in my paper one.
Yes, Mr. Bhargav, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Bhargav. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, we have got a very good rank. Now the mark sheet will come, obviously. So we'll
Yes.
not go into much detail. So
Yeah.
with every topper, this one-to-one interview I take, right? The purpose is to sort of ask you, how did you prepare? Obviously,
Yes.
we have interacted, I know, right? But at least for the
Yes.
general viewer, yes, that how did
Yes.
you prepare? So Bhargav, first tell me about yourself.
So this is so I'm a law graduate. I have done my 5 years law from Jindal, and I graduated in 2020. This was my third attempt, my third mains also, and my first interview.
First interview. You cracked
First
interview for the
interview.
first time itself.
Yes.
Okay, so did you started your preparation during college days only, or you started, I mean, few years back?
No, I started after graduation. I
You
didn't
started
have
after.
plans during college.
Okay, during college. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you study Bhargav constitutional law? What are the reference material that you have seen, you have studied?
So I used MP Jain mainly. MP Jain I used fundamental rights chapter I didn't do from MP Jain, that I did from this Dukkis, because that is a huge, very huge syllabus, and I have seen that questions don't come from there as much. So I didn't find it to be worth it to do every case in order and stuff like that. So mainly all the smaller topics like privileges or these things exhaustively I read from MP Jain, hardly 25-30 pages, made notes out of it. And I also used to keep updating on SCC online, whatever the live law especially helped a lot. So having the basics from MP Jain, some parts substituted with Dukki, and then keeping up to date with live law once a month or something, I would see the topmost what has happened
Mhm.
and trying to use them in answers.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. I think we have also sent you the this in the from the live law only, right? We have taken the whole around 20-30 cases of which are relevant cases, right? Same thing you used to do by yourself also, right? I
Yes,
suppose.
yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
that's very good. Okay. Now another the next topic, I mean, of the law optional, that is your international law, right? So how did you do international law? From where did you study it?
So mostly the topics which are basic topics I did from Dukki. I didn't do from anywhere else. And I also did this thing where I would write like on your website and other websites, there are these topper copies.
Mhm.
So I would take topper copies and attempt the same answer on my own and update whatever extra information is from there. Because I realized that, they normally write the best answers anyway, so I can enrich myself directly. So
Hmm.
that I did, and
Now someone will see your cookie also, right? Obviously, right? That
so
is
I
how.
have learned from them, they can learn from me.
Yes, very kind. And the books, etc. From where? I mean, apart from Duki.
Apart from Duki, sir, rest all was online, like CTB, this nuclear and terrorism and hijacking, all that I did from online notes here and there. Uh, just no specific source as such. Yeah.
Now, obviously, when the result will come, we will have more idea that which part
Yes.
you have scored the maximum marks.
Yes. Yes.
What about law of crime, Bhargav? Where did you study it from?
So once again, from my college notes, I had some, and from the Duki also.
From Duki also. Okay.
From Duki, I studied and reverse learning again.
Okay. So, but,
Yeah.
but this time, I don't think you have mentioned anything about BNS and all, right? It was totally IPC.
No. Completely IPC. I think next time things will change. I don't know how.
No, not entirely. It will not change, but it's still the IPC is in syllabus, right? So what we can have is that you can write in bracket the newer sections, right? That's it. Very good.
Mm.
Okay. So how about the law of tort?
So law of torts, I found some notes online. Also, questions are very basic. So I thought the questions are very basic, so I could study from ready-made sources online. Very basic stuff.
That's good. What about the CLD portion? Seems like very vast. So from where you
Yes.
have and you got your help from that?
So I think like if I were to do my own analysis, I think I scored much better in paper two than paper one, and mainly because my CLD was very strong. And this time I thought questions were pretty, like, I don't know, they expected you to know the law properly. So I created these only one page documents where all the main sections and concepts of each particular case was written, of each particular law was written down. Like Prevention of Corruption Act ke bare mein, this time directly a question came. So like that I had prepared for each different subtopic. Of course, I had not done this for IPR laws, and thankfully only one question came from there. But otherwise, whatever came from CLD, I really answered them very well, I think. And that's why my time management was also very good in paper two. So I think I'll get close to at least 138 to 140 in paper two, I'm expecting.
Okay. 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 Now, how about commercial law, specifically, the smaller topics? I mean, seems like a small topic, but obviously they are
Yeah.
big, such as Sales of Goods Act and NI
Yes.
Act. How did you go about this law of contract?
So for these, I went through some CA material, which is available online.
Yes, and we also given
Yes.
our website of that's it.
Yeah. So
That's
they have released videos and they are very nicely done. And you just have to listen and create very basic notes because, of course, we're not preparing for CA. So whatever they are teaching you, and if you look at PYQs, that is the most important. So you know which areas are more important than others. You don't need to know the whole of Sale of Goods Act or Partnership Act.
very good.
So what is important, you know from before, and you learn it from those. That's a one-stop solution for commercial law.
NI Act also the same thing is there for everything. And what
Same.
about the major contract act? Any book, a specific material that you referred?
No, sir. Contract Act also I did from Dukki only
Right.
because I feel Dukki is sufficient.
Okay. So this is obviously the subject wise. Now, tell me, how much time did you take to prepare the whole syllabus?
So this is my third attempts and third mains also. So obviously I have been preparing from a long time. I think, of course, first attempt was immediately out of college. So mainly my preparation for law happened uh, after my first attempt and after the prelims of this attempt. So I would say the foundational aspects took around 4 months, 4 to 4 months or so for me. And then a lot of improvement also happened in the last main. So between the prelims and mains, 3 months, I dedicated 1.5 months to optional alone.
Okay.
So that's where,
So if a new guy, suppose who is in college or just pass out, so how many time do you think one should give while preparing law optional? Obviously, not coaching,
yeah,
self preparation. Suppose you want to self prepare, how much
yeah.
time do you think he should give it?
So I would say it will, if you want to do it really well, like I don't think if you want to score 290, 280, stuff like that, then you need to know your stuff really well. And I would say it will take 6 months to prepare it exhaustively.
At least, without help. Obviously, with help, people can do it 4, 5, but
Faster.
without
Yes.
help, at least 6 months. Okay.
And your direction has to be clear because I have seen, even I did this mistake. In the previous attempt, I read fundamental rights in great detail and it wasted my time completely, actually.
Yes,
I
even
have
I
spent,
keep telling them, right, that the whole constitutional law books are designed in a manner that fundamental right is the half of the whole book.
yeah.
Right?
That has to
Because
be
you
avoided.
just, 1 or 2 questions from them. You have to
Yeah.
study it. Right? You have cracked the code. That's fine. That's fine. That's very good. That's very good.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing, you have been, long 3 years, right? Very grueling 3 years. So obviously,
Yeah.
there is some time that you might feel like, yeah, choro, let us do something else, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously you are a law graduate, so you have multiple options open, right?
Yes.
So why did you, I mean, how did you keep yourself motivated?
So because I think my mother helped me a lot. She herself is an IAS officer. So she knew how to, I mean, she knew the rigor of the exam and I was prepared before I entered that, I didn't have these unrealistic expectations कि first attempt में हो जाएगा क्योंकि we know कि ज्यादातर लोग का नहीं होता एग्जाम समझने में आई थिंक कि 1 साल लग जाता है समझने में so I was with that came and I knew that it is a 2 to 3 year project and I was prepared for that. Of course, if I had not cleared this time I would be wondering what to do next, but I think everybody should have clarity in their mind that you should not get frustrated if your first attempt doesn't happen.
So with time, obviously, things settle down. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And now one another thing, obviously, with your previous reply, I understand the answer, but still, I'm going to ask you, why did
Yeah.
not you attempt it for a judiciary examination, or did you attempt it? The question is.
No, sir. As I told you, my civil services background is at home, and judiciary also. Some of my friends did prepare for it, but I also came from Jindal, and in private colleges, normally we don't have that kind of, we don't have those many people preparing for public exams. So the mindset in my college was also कि graduation के बाद corporate law या litigation and yeah, civil services. So I judiciary was nowhere in my list.
Because people normally ask me, I mean, okay, this is unique to only law optional, right? Because most of them are graduates, right? So they
Correct.
only come and ask that, okay, we should go for the judiciary or law optional. Obviously, I also take this view that, you also decide freehand. Now, you
Yes.
cannot say something is better, something is bad. Obviously, that totally depends. Yes, that totally depends.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I also gave the CLAT PG though last year in December. I got rank 75 there.
Okay.
So I was thinking कि maybe on the side I can do LLM or apply for other exams like JAG and stuff. So I have applied for JAG also, but now I don't think I'll need to take it up.
Now, really, very, Bhargav, wonderful result. Now let the result come. I mean, the mark sheet,
Yes,
right? Then I will
yes,
also invite you to, come and meet students and give some sort of topper talk that, okay, how to go about it, right?
yes,
Specifically, see, the point is that the same thing, if repeated from teacher, sometime, a student, very, or candidate, sometimes do not appreciate it much, right? But obviously,
correct.
when it comes from the person who have qualified it, right? So obviously,
Yes,
it have, much more impact on them, right? So
yes.
I will definitely invite you. So anything else that you would like to add, Mr. Bhargav, for the general audience?
Uh, I think so. The only thing I'll say is that we should have realistic expectations and we should make a very strong foundation. I think one of the mistakes people make, I also made, was that we think कि we want to do a copy paste job कि यहाँ से थोड़ा उठा लिया वहाँ से थोड़ा उठा लिया. लेकिन you need to go into the depth of things, at least topics that matter. Otherwise, your foundation will not be strong and your answers it will reflect. Unlike in prelims, in mains, when you see two different answers, you can tell who has more depth. That will not come if you do a superficial job.
Acha, what about this preparation of law optional along with GS paper 2? I mean, how did you manage that? Did you study it for the GS separately, or sort of merged the law optional and the GS paper 2?
So this time, though, it got merged only, pretty much.
Case law in the question itself, they was discussed with
And
case
this time, in fact, law paper two had lot of good, sorry, GS paper two had lot of content from law. They asked, there was a question about competition law. There was a question about legal aid, and there was a question about RTI in paper two, again in fundamental. And there was like one more about changing nature of Article 21 or something like that was there.
with the
So
case law. Yes,
huge overlap, massive overlap. And if you do your this thing well, GS2 score can be 120 marks also, if you have done your time management correctly and law optional correctly.
who knows, you might have got it right. You might have got it.
Probably.
So did
Yeah.
you mention a lot of cases, or what did you do? I mean, whether you kept it so little bit generic, or you simply wrote answer like lobs in GS paper 2?
So I wrote like law optional only. I
Okay.
wrote I wrote a theoretical beginning about why what is competition commission, and it's, for example, it's the why is it necessary in a capitalistic society or a capitalistic economy. But when the time came to give cases, I gave 4 or 5 cases, whatever was in my mind. I wrote it because the time is also constrained. We can't think in the exam. Whatever came to my mind, you wrote off. That's all.
See, the reason I'm asking that, I get two feedback, right? I think
Yes.
Avinash was there, last to last year, 31 rank,
Yes, sir.
right? He said me, ki, sir, I simply wrote law of answer, and he got very good marks. Now,
Yes.
last year, one of the candidates said me, ki, sir, I only, wrote like law optional, but he could not get much marks in the GS paper, right? So there's a sort of a mixed feedback, ki,
Yeah.
whether you should write like law optional or you should not write like law optional.
Yeah.
Right, I was asking.
And I think you can write law optional if it's not unnecessarily too technical. As long as you've got the philosophical aspect also, you can write sections, you can write, because you're showing your knowledge off over there. You can write sections, you can write case law. But I think if your, introduction, conclusion, and all reflect the understanding, it is fine.
So then that is fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's very wonderful, Bhargav. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for all your help also over the last. I remember you had sent this case laws and the important lines from the case laws. I used that in my paper one. And I'd like to say that this time I changed my entire strategy of answer writing in paper one after looking at some of the topper copies. Earlier, I was writing it in a very point-wise format. This time, I just wrote paragraphs. Full on,
With
I
the
wrote
headings,
paragraphs.
with the headings, right? So that is
Yeah,
what I
with the
do, right?
heading.
With the
Yes,
headings.
yes, with the headings. But it became more like language oriented, understanding oriented. So I benefited a lot from that.
Thank you, Bhargav. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.